Okay, everybody. Hopefully, you are joining in on this podcast slash YouTube video slash what I'm building here, which is basically interviewing people who are in the Salesforce ecosystem and asking them how they got into the Salesforce ecosystem, so we can give answers back to you guys who are really looking for a way to really come into Salesforce if you're trying to figure out how to actually get into Salesforce. So on today's call, I've actually got my best friend, Taylor Wilson. We've known each other since third grade. My uncle was best friends with his dad growing up, and we grew up together. So we have a long history together. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you, Taylor, for jumping on this and being a part of this call.
Yeah, thanks, Kalen. Thanks for having me here, and to all of you fellow future Salesforce certified administrators or whatever your hearts pursue out there, welcome. And thanks for letting me be here today.
Yeah, man. So I really wanted to bring you on here. For the people that don't know, you've got a very extensive career in the military, and you help a lot of military vets out. So a lot of people who are, trying to make the transition into, normal civilian life after the military, really hit up Taylor all the time. And now that Taylor's in the Salesforce ecosystem, Taylor is now kind of that liaison to help guys get out of the military and help them transition. So now, Taylor, you're in the Salesforce space. So I want to talk about, really today focusing on vets or guys that are transitioning out of the military and getting into the Salesforce ecosystem, because we know you help guys with veteran disability as well, which we'll talk about later on in the conversation. But right now, let's really focus on how somebody can transition over into the Salesforce ecosystem. So first question I want to ask you is, how did you get introduced to the Salesforce ecosystem?
So how I got introduced to the ecosystem was, as you recall, Kalen, you were there with me, been through, pretty much everything together. But so I mean, I was in my, fourth year of the Marines, and I was about to be getting out, like a lot of veterans do after their, first enlistment. And I wanted to stay in San Diego because I love it out here. I'm originally from Oklahoma. And, so I decided, I'm going to get out, I'm going to go to school, and we'll see what happens. And then, prior to getting out, I had technical experience within the military. And then getting out, I had some sales experience. So, having both of those backgrounds, I was interested in going into that direction. And so you actually, Kalen, got into Salesforce, and I saw how, you were just all about it, on fire, lit up. And you mentioned check out VetForce. And so I ended up doing some research on it and finding out more about VetForce. Totally love the ecosystem. So if you're a veteran out there and you're looking to get into something and you want something that's bigger and better and a part of yourself than you, and you want to be pushed to your limits in the best way you can be, check out VetForce. You're going to love it. So that's how I got introduced to Salesforce and the Salesforce ecosystem, was through a friend, you, Kalen. But for any of you out there, again, if you've never heard of Salesforce, or you have, or you're thinking about it, or you're, quite in it, drop a comment up below and let us know your thoughts. We want to hear about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Taylor, you're right. VetForce is a great place for veterans to go to. And like he said, you guys, if you're interested in VetForce, or if you're already in it, leave a comment in the comment section here and just let us know if you are a part of that VetForce community. So I definitely was a big proponent for Salesforce and was telling you all about it. So really quick here, what made you want to finally make that transition into Salesforce after I was telling you about it, for so long? What was the catalyst? Excuse me, I have the hiccups here. Sorry. So what was your catalyst that was kind of like, I want to finally transition over into Salesforce?
Yeah, great question. So for me, I knew in my heart that I always wanted to be in sales, And I always wanted to continue to grow and develop. And I also loved tech. And so, I didn't want to necessarily go and learn how to do zeros and ones and code and that sort of thing, but I wanted to utilize something, a platform such as Salesforce where I could, sell and grow and accelerate. And so I guess really what had me have that transition into it was, going into my senior year of college, similar to, my military, going to my, last year, I was like, I need to really start getting serious and thinking about what do I want to do? Even though I was going for a degree in international security conflict resolution, which is just international affairs, which, I was interested in learning more about that due to like my military career. I wanted to, take, what I had from college and apply it in a way that I could still excel, which, conflict resolution was a focus of study of mine. And so I liked, the idea and the art of selling and being able to really take a business from, a profit, to a goal and to where they want to see, any kind of results from profits to network to opportunity, and being able to utilize Salesforce for that tool was what really sold me.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, like a lot of people think Salesforce careers are just like the technical like hands-on, you got to be in the system all the time. But really, when I was telling Taylor about Salesforce, I was telling him because I'm telling you guys, let me give you guys a little background about Taylor. Like I said, we grew up together, right? So we're in football every single summer, and we have to sell these. What was it, Taylor? With these little like gift cards,
football cards,
cards. Yeah. So Taylor really blew me away one summer whenever I was going door to door with him, selling those cards to local businesses. And Taylor had a knack for selling. And I was like, okay, Taylor could sell Salesforce. He doesn't have to be technical, hands-on, or anything like that. I was just more in the mindset of, let me get this guy to learn Salesforce so that whenever he does go out and sell it, he knows what he's talking about. So that's really honestly why I was interested in telling Taylor about it, because like he said earlier, he's not a zeros and ones guy. He's more of like, how can you sell the platform? Taylor has an extreme ability to sell. He's amazing at speaking with people, networking with people, just like, he was one of the best salesmen out there whenever we were doing that. So, that was the main reason why I really wanted Taylor to really learn Salesforce. We got a comment from my guy Tay. Thanks, Tay. I appreciate it. Hey, you're the man too. So appreciate you, man, jumping on the call, watching this. So. Yeah, that's the main reason why I wanted Taylor to really learn Salesforce, was because his ability to sell, I think, is just gonna like catapult him to the top. So, what would you say to vets that are looking to transition into a Salesforce career if they haven't done so already?
Check out my 10-step guide. No, yes. Great question. So, if you're a veteran and you're looking to transition into a Salesforce career or a technical career or anything, honestly, do your research. So, in my 10-step guide, I talk more about this, but there's a lot of different ways in which you can transition out of the military. You can go to school. You can utilize a program with the VA. There's a series of educational, approaches you can pursue. And then, if you want to go straight to work, there's that avenue too. But, either way, I think at the end of the day, the number one goal for a lot of you out there is, to make an income for yourself, make a living, just to get by, especially in, these times, these pandemics right now. So I would say, the biggest thing transitioning out into Salesforce career is just, take action, take initiative, be vulnerable, like I'll be honest, when I was transitioning into the Salesforce ecosystem, I was like, I already knew I wasn't going to be some technical guru, geek expert, but I also knew I had heart and I wanted to keep, pursuing and not stop and keep continuing and growing. And so that's why I loved how, it took me 10 months to get my admin certification, which, and I failed the first time too. So for a lot of you out there, you might be saying, well, I took it and I don't know, I didn't really get it. One for me. No, it's, if you continue to persist, it's persistence. That's all it is. Persistence. If you just persist, you will reach that goal and that outcome, and you will push past that. You will blow that away. So, my advice is persistence.
Yeah. And you know what, man, I'm glad you said that, because yesterday I had Acacia on the call, and I was interviewing Acacia, and she said the same thing. Like, she was looking for a job for 7 months. And I think here's a big problem in internet society in general, right? Is you hear about the people who are 17 years old and they make $3 million in 30 days. You never know if that's real. You don't know if, hey, even if it was real, how much prior experience did they have before that? How much money did they start with? And if that's revenue or profit, you never know the actual facts of it. But a lot of stuff on the internet is, you're going to just get this stuff extremely fast. It's like the internet is kind of like the, magic pie in the sky that people think money just falls out the sky from. And I'm glad that you said that, because like you said, two things I'm really glad that you mentioned for the audience listening is that it took you what, 10 months to get the certification, and you failed the first time, which is very, very important to know, because even for myself, I had an internship in 2017, and I took about 2.5 months, and I failed the first time I took the Salesforce admin certification. And I was about this close to being like, I've put in this much effort and I'm not going to keep going anymore. But like Taylor said, it's persistence. You have to keep going. And I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people need to realize that this is not just some easy certification to get, and life's just going to, magically happen for you once you get certified. So I appreciate you for saying that. So yeah, very true. Everybody listening, everybody watching, definitely need to make sure that you're intent on making this happen. Like, whether it takes you like 2.5 months like me, or 10 months, or 3 months, or 6 months, or 2 years, if this is what you want, go for it. Go for it. So thank you for saying that, Taylor. So what's your biggest piece of advice for veterans that want to get the Salesforce admin cert? I know you said persistence, but what else would you say for veterans? And sorry, I didn't even mean to gloss over the fact that you mentioned your 10-step veteran resource guide. That right there, I definitely don't want to gloss over that. That is going to be in the description below, so that whenever you guys are trying to figure out, hey, how do I get started in the Salesforce ecosystem as a vet? What resources are out there? I'm going to be leaving that in the description below. I'll also leave Taylor's LinkedIn in the description below, so you can connect with Taylor and learn more from Taylor and get those resources. So definitely don't want to gloss over that. But what other pieces of advice would you give to veterans that want to get the Salesforce admin cert, aside from the perseverance and get your 10-step guide?
Yeah, great question. So I think most importantly, and they do a great job of this in the military, but, just like when you were in the military and you would have a battle buddy, or you'd have somebody that would, hold you accountable, or you would hold them accountable. I think it's important to, in a way, at least for myself, to continue that aspect and network, because, it's not all it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, ultimately, and at the same time, when you can measure your knowledge against somebody else, and in a way make it, competitive, but, with each other, and the goal to, for example, you and somebody else study together, like I did for this certification, it's going to be a lot easier for you, your mental persistence and everything, doing this with a partner than on your own. Now, some of you out there might be like, well, Taylor, I don't like to study with other people, and I got it. If that's what works for you, fine, do that. But if you're going to do this and you already know, I'm ADHD, at times. So sometimes I need that other person there. So ultimately find somebody that you can do this with, because the payoff is going to be so much more, rewarding. And and when you want, you're going to get your certification. You're going to get that. But honestly, for me, what was exciting not was the fact that I got my certification as much as it was seeing my friend get his certification, which is, it might sound kind of weird, but really it's exciting because it's an opportunity to not change your life, but their life as well. So with that being said, and I talk about this again in the 10-step guide, but if you're a veteran or if you're a spouse out there too, spouses, this goes for you. If you are in that veteran ecosystem, then there are cohorts out there that will accept you and bring you on and train you. So for like example, I went through a number of cohorts. One for veterans in particular was the Pathfinder program. So I'm sorry, the Merivis program. So Pathfinder's a program too, but Merivis is for veterans and spouses. And what they do is they bring you on. Right now it's a virtual cohort, but they have in-training offices too during non-COVID times. But what they do is they bring you on, they train you for a number of weeks. You go through, they have you complete certain tasks and requirements. And then after, you have an opportunity, after taking that $4,000 training course with them through Salesforce for free, then you get to sit and take your admin certification that's paid for, so for free. So, I think the most important thing about that is not necessarily that you got your certification, but most importantly, that you're growing your network. Because again, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah. And yeah, thanks for telling them that. Yeah, guys, there's a lot of different perks out there for being a military vet. Like Taylor said, like you go through an entire course to teach you to become a Salesforce admin completely free. What would be a $4,000 course for other people as a vet, you get for free, and for spouses as well. So, and then you get to take the certification for free. So if you're a vet or a military spouse and you think that you have to pay for the Salesforce certification or for a $4,000 course, think again, because there are a lot of perks out there for people. And yeah, and Taylor, I tell you this all the time, like I learn best whenever it's just me by myself. And I know we kind of butt heads on that sometimes because you're like, hey, I want to study with you. And I'm like, I want to study alone. But no, guys, like there are definitely times when I have studied with other people and I've realized that my growth has actually been even better than when I've studied by myself. Sometimes I just, get in the zone where I don't like to be distracted. But the times I've really seen the best results really has been when I've studied with other people. Because you're also able to, learn from different perspectives. You're able to teach to them, whenever you learn something, which solidifies your learning. And then just like you said, you're happy for their success as well. So I completely agree. Thanks for saying that.
Absolutely.
So what sort of skills would you say that you learned in the military that prepared you for a Salesforce career?
Yeah, great question. So the sort of skills that I learned in the military that really helped me prepare was, I think, being a Marine, and I'd say most Marines, if not all Marines, could agree with this, but the ability to just function under stress, and the stress that's the kind that you're given a task or requirement and you're not 100% sure, or maybe at all, how to even do it or complete it. And that kind of stress can dwell on you because when you're in the military, or at least, when I was in the Marine Corps, there would be many situations where working in communications that I was given an assignment, task, or something I had to do, and I was responsible for people under me, and what I was doing was critical to a real world mission and, possibly life or death. So that kind of adversity and, stress going through that really helped me learn how to troubleshoot, learn how to problem solve, and just, be able to project manage, in a situation. So I would say troubleshooting, and then just, again, there's a lot of things to it, but just becoming more structured, organized, just learning how to, basically face, any fear and any obstacle and just trying, taking initiative. So really a lot of, core values within just that and just having integrity in what you do. But I think that, most veterans out there, they already kind of got a unique, set of skill sets and how they know about themselves. But I think it's important once you get into a career field you're in, find things and find ways to automate and make it easier for yourself, because those will also turn into skills that will help you. So, just take initiative.
Yeah, definitely. Very true. Like you said, take initiative, and then that perseverance, because whenever you have to persevere for, like you said, 10 months, and then fail the first time you take the test, you've got to take initiative. You've got to be able to be a go-getter, self-starter, which I know you to be, that's all you've been your whole life. We were like that back in high school. I mean, our whole lives. So, that skill has definitely brought you far into the Salesforce ecosystem, and it's going to take us far in life in general. So, one last question I have for you, Taylor, before we hop off is, what would you say right now to vets that are listening to this video? What would you say to them? Basically, if they haven't made it past the threshold and into a Salesforce job, what would you say to those vets that are listening, that want to get that Salesforce job? I know the question might, kind of seem confusing to some people, but I'm going to reiterate that question once again. What would you say to vets right now that are listening to you, a guy that has made it past the threshold and into a Salesforce job? What advice would you give to those people?
Great question. So the first thing that I would say, and again, I might sound like I'm repeating myself, but network. Why? I think you already know why. So, and again, I talk about it in the 10-step guide, but guys, if you want a job, you have the job. You're just waiting for the future to come to you. All you need to do is go take the right moves and actions, and it's going to happen. So, take advantage of Veterati, join these cohorts, get out there in the ecosystem, get on LinkedIn, niche within your LinkedIn and get into these fields. So that way you're able to, start to make friends. I have friends, literally, I'm out here in Southern California, and I have friends in South Florida, on the other side of the country. Actually, I have friends that are in Europe right now, and I've never even met them in my life. I know them solely through Salesforce, So if you're getting into this, do your research, watch videos, on VetForce, and check out my 10-step guide, but ultimately network. Because if you network, it's going to make it so much easier.
Yeah. And then I'm going to add one more question. I'm going to say LinkedIn networking tips. What would you say? Could you give right now 1 or 2 LinkedIn networking tips for the people listening that don't know how to get started on LinkedIn? How do they niche themselves? What do they say on LinkedIn? What do they do? Give us like 1 or 2 tips for people listening to get noticed on LinkedIn.
So if I'll give you two answers. If you want an easy option and you're just getting started, something I actually did is, if you take advantage of networking, go through like something like Veterati, you can look on there for people that are, pretty much subject matter experts in LinkedIn or whatever it is you're trying to figure out. And they can go with you on a phone call and literally help you tailor everything. Now, search engine optimization, SEO, those sort of things will start to really take effect the more niched and the more creative and, more filled out your LinkedIn is. So definitely, if, you're making a LinkedIn, fill out as much information that's relevant to you currently right now and fill that out. And then, for example, for like myself, I wanted to be, known within the veteran Salesforce ecosystem. So I made sure to, go and accomplish, whether it was going through cohorts or it was trainings, whatever I had to do to make sure that I was, within that ecosystem, being recognized and noticed. And then and then another thing is, when you guys start out, if for you veterans and spouses out there, you can go through, and we'll put this link in the description below, but there's a website out there, Hire Heroes USA. And what they will do is they will basically cut out the legwork for you, and they will link you with somebody that will tailor a professional resume for you completely for free. That's backed and researched and one of the top resumes out there. It's actually Actually, if you want to check out my resume on my LinkedIn, it's one they designed. So see for yourself, but get you a resume. And then another thing I want to add to this is, even if you're not ready for a job yet, do yourself a favor and have your resume and go and apply on every single job site, Monster, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Google top 10 or however many you need to fill out, at least 10, and go on those job sites, build profiles, upload your resume, and sit back and just watch, and you will be surprised how many jobs come to you. I actually recently did this. I'm not currently looking for a job. I have a job, but I wanted to see, as soon as I got my admin certification, hey, what's the market really like? What's it biting? And then sure enough, as soon as I, got my admin certification, uploaded, my resume and had everything, all my profiles and job sites built, I mean, I was kind of blown away how many jobs are actually out there being offered. So if you're not sure if you can get a job in this, or you're not sure, what to do, just take action. Just get out there, talk to people, research, read the 10-step guide. Pop a question below, comment below. We'll get back to you, but let us know what your thoughts are. And if you have any more questions, Kaylin and I are here for you. But thank you, Kaylin.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor. No, guys, really listen to this. Take this to heart. Take this advice. If you guys are looking for a Salesforce career, once again, I want to tell you, look, this video is geared towards vets. Taylor's a vet. He was in the United States Marine Corps Special Forces. But at the same time, always take what you're hearing for your specific situation as well. You don't have to be a vet. We did gear this video towards vets because Taylor has that experience working with vets, helping them get disability, helping them transition from being in the military to Salesforce career as well. But this video is geared towards anybody transitioning to anything from anywhere into the Salesforce ecosystem. If you're a .NET developer, if you're a developer from another platform like Siebel or Sugar CRM or SAP or Oracle or whatever it is, you can still take the advice and the tips that you're getting here and apply those for yourself. So that's all I wanted to say for that. I appreciate you for coming on this call, Taylor. This is very valuable information. Lots of people need to hear this. There's frequently asked questions all the time. Hopefully we chop down some of those questions. And, if we didn't, let us know in the comments section that we didn't answer a question, and we may just come back on here, do another video. This doesn't take long for us to get on here and talk to you guys and tell you guys. Taylor's just one phone call away or one text message away. He'll hop on here, help out. Like I said, he's my best friend. So we're just going to hop on here and help you guys if you guys have more questions. So with that being said, Minute Admin out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kellen.